I think the Seahawks did a really smart thing. Two things happened on Sunday, besides the awesome dominant win. They rested Julian Love, Nick Emanwari, and Devin Witherspoon. I think Witherspoon and Love could have played on Sunday, but they knew they had to play on Thursday, so they rested him. And Zach Charbonnet is in the same boat, but he's offense. Those guys are all practicing today. They're going to be ready to go on Thursday, so they get basically their defense back, ready to roll. They'll have a whole healthy defense against Arizona. That's really smart. But it only works if you can pull off a win, and they pulled off a win against the Saints, dominant fashion. Secondly, because they were up by so much, they got to rest dudes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You don't get injured, and you have fresher legs, like a Ken Walker, right? Like a Sam Darnold. He didn't play basically the fourth quarter. Smith and Jigba, whoever. They got to rest. So Arizona was in like a dogfight the whole game. So I think the Seahawks come in fresher. They have a rest advantage, even though they're traveling. Seahawks always play well in Arizona. They have great fan base that goes down there.
I don't remember a blowout win like this in last year's schedule.
I mean, the Seahawks have lost 7 out of their last 8 games at home.
Yeah.
So it was awesome for everybody, right? They just, I guess, in the way that I'm not sure about Jed Fish is my fair way to say it, I am sure about Mike Macdonald.
Yeah.
So Mike Macdonald, just, I believe for whatever reason, it seems like the guys believe, he makes, he's still pretty green on like decisions sometimes in game. We talked about it in week 1, not going for it on 4th down against the Niners is a pretty big miss, I think. But God, he motivates him and gets him going. And that defense believes in him, and they're getting better. And they can't even do all the stuff that he wants to do because they don't have all the personnel back yet. And they might be able to do a little bit more on Thursday. Some exotic looks is what they like to say on the podcast, Kev. What do you think? What's your outlook?
I will be the contrarian here. The Seahawks started 3-0 last season. And I'm sure if you queued up the tape, we were optimistic about last year's team. I mean, they beat down Miami 24-3 last year.
Yeah, that got me excited last year. I remember.
Yeah. And we had that big win over Denver. And so the Saints aren't a good barometer, right? It's just like the Huskies. We're going to learn more every single game, but I think we do know more that the Seahawks are a lot better than they were last season. I'm still kind of iffy on the offense, but we'll see. We'll see on Thursday, right?
Here's why I'm not iffy on the offense as in comparison. The offensive line's legitimately better. It is better.
Yeah.
They didn't have a false start or a holding penalty in the first 2 weeks of the year. I know they had at least one holding penalty in week 3. They're rating out okay on Pro Football Focus, but did you know Sam Darnold's the number 1 quarterback on Pro Football Focus right now?
Love it.
So whatever their rating system is, right? He's number 1. Ken Walker's their number 2 running back. Jackson Smith and Jigba is their number 8 receiver. Charles Cross is their number 7 offensive lineman. The Seahawks are the number 1 team in football in DVOA, which is another metric, not Pro Football Focus, that people really cite. Like Amina Kimes will cite that on our podcast, right? Or on TV. DVOA is something people respect. For whatever reason, the Seahawks are really good. Part of it's special teams, I think, gives that overall feature a little bit stronger. But yeah, the difference this year will be, I mean, obviously they have to go win in Arizona, because if you go 2-2 and Arizona's 3-1 and the Rams are 3-1 and the Niners are 3-1 or 4-0, it doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, you gotta win your division. You gotta beat up on your division mates.
They can't have what they had last year, which is that loss to the Giants, which was part of a 3-game loss. They lost 5 out of 6. They lost to the Niners, Detroit, Buffalo, and the Rams last year, and the Rams were on OT, and so they were 4-5, and then they kind of went on a run. But yeah, they went 10-7 last year, and I think they're a better team than that. And I think they have a schedule. I don't know. I feel like their schedule's set up to be better this year.
Yeah.
So they go Arizona, then they have Tampa Bay at home. That'll be tough, but that's the great uniform game. At Jacksonville, Houston at home, at Washington, Arizona. Then they go at Rams, Tennessee, Minnesota, Atlanta, Indianapolis, LA, Carolina, San Francisco. I don't know. I just feel like they're just better. They're a better team this year.
Yeah.
So I like you being contrarian like I am for the Huskies. It's good for the podcast content.
Yeah, you know what's else is good for the podcast content?
What's that?
When we predict the future and we rebuild the storm and we say, go get a new head coach. And
Yeah.
what do they do on Sunday?